Well, hello there everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's Space Cowboy here with another video for you guys here today. And with today's video, we are now in the month of March, and with that, not only is this year going by way too quick for my liking, as we're now in March, we are 10 days away from the legal tampering period for NFL free agency, and then 2 days after that, the official start of free agency. So we're right around the corner of when our guys that are unrestricted free agents can start talking with other clubs and all that other stuff. And what frustrates me so much about where this team is at going into this free agency period is that the list of guys that they need to bring back isn't huge. It's only a handful of guys that really I think they need to bring back. But here they are, now 2 months after their season is over, doing absolutely nothing to open up cap space, use any of the mechanisms that teams have at their disposal to get the cap space. We're not seeing any extensions, we're not seeing any restructures, we're not seeing any releases, none of that stuff. Right now, across the league, you're seeing teams making maneuvers to open up millions of dollars in cap space so that they're ready to go into free agency and not necessarily sign a high-priced free agent, but sign guys to make sure that they are ready for next year or even re-sign their own guys. And now here we are at the scouting combine trying to figure out what prospects they're meeting with formally and informally to get an idea of who the Cowboys are interested in. But then also trying to figure what the hell they're doing for free agency or even bringing back their own guys. And so we listen to Steven and Jerry say the same crap or word it in a certain way so it sounds different, but it's really the same. But we get the little inklings from them as well as the media of an idea of what the plan is. So from what we understand, the Cowboys are set to go into 2024 with no extensions and everybody just playing for their jobs, basically. That's the first thing. The second thing is that we hear from Steven that they want to re-sign Dak Prescott. They're talking to Tyron Smith. They're talking to Tyler Biadasz. They're talking to Stephon Gilmore in terms of bringing these guys back. They're more interested in bringing back Tyron Smith, and they feel like a deal can be done there. They're looking at Tyler Biadasz because they think that the cheap deal can be done there. And with Stephon Gilmore, there's a high likelihood that he won't be back. But if the price is right, they will bring him back. And we've heard nothing else about the other free agents aside from they're not going to tag Pollard, and they're probably not going to use their franchise tag this go around, and I would be shocked if they did actually, considering with where we're at. And that's it. We don't know if they're going to bring back anybody else. In fact, even though that Rico Dowdle is a restricted free agent, they are looking at possibly not even tendering him to even bring him back, which is crazy. Because usually they like to utilize restricted free agency to their advantage. And the funniest thing about this particular offseason is that Jerry threw out the term all in right after our playoff loss to Green Bay. And Cowboys Nation was going everywhere talking about, oh, maybe, just maybe, we're going to go all in. You know, maybe this is the year that we'll spend some money in free agency so that we can get over the top, just get to the NFC title game and call it a success, right? Well, the term all in that he used wasn't what you thought it meant. So first off, we had Stephen Jones and his smug ass trying to talk about how, oh, well, Jerry all the time says we're all in and at the end of the day and all this other bullshit. And so we hear that. So he kind of brushes it off. But then we get clarification that Jerry meant all in saying we're all in bringing everybody back so we can run it around again. First off, when it comes to the term all in, the way Jerry described it is completely different from how I envision an all in maneuver looks like for a team. The other thing is Cowboys fans actually thought that we were going to go all in. Not everybody, at least a decent chunk, like 60 to 70% of the fans. So they're talking, oh, we're going to go get Derrick Henry. Oh, we're going to go get Patrick Queen. Man, we got them at home. We're going to re-sign these guys. That's the Stephen Jones method. It's like when you're telling your mom, hey, I want to get McDonald's. Can we go get McDonald's? And she's like, we got McDonald's at home. I mean, come on, man. Like, it's unbelievable. It's like this fan base is like a bunch of children where the Joneses are dangling keys in front of them to keep them intrigued and interested in what's going on. It really is like that. And when it comes to how this team is managed by this front office, the best way that I can keep my sanity and my mental stability is just relegating myself to I'll believe it when I see it. Look, I get frustrated when they don't do things that they say they want to do. Trust me. But I'm not going to go out here talking about how they should go sign this guy, or they're interested in this guy, or they're going to trade for this guy. Why? Because they've shown no effort whatsoever. Not only to going after outside free agents, but to practice what they frickin' preach every frickin' year. They want to talk about how they re-signed Dak. Look, I don't care if you hate Dak, love Dak, or think he's crazy. I don't care. If they, as an organization, think that they want him back, then re-sign him. I'm a fan. I'm just going along for the ride. Do I think you should re-sign him? Yeah, that's just my opinion. You don't have to agree with me. But the thing is it's just principle. You, like any other NFL team, have mechanisms at your disposal to manipulate the salary cap to your advantage to re-sign guys or even sign guys that are outside this organization that would be instant impact players. But they choose to go through the mud and do things the hard way. When it comes to any star player in Dallas that was drafted here, that is looking for an extension, it's the same song and dance. They get extension eligible, and then the next thing you know, there's this weird media bias against the player talking about all their shortcomings and why the Cowboys might not want to re-sign this player or put out negative storylines, and then you have Cowboys fans eating it up like it's actually true. And then they go against the player, so then if negotiations fail and that player leaves the Cowboys, at least the fan base will be okay with that happening. It happens every time. It's happened with Zeke. It's happened with DeMarcus Lawrence. It's happened with Dak Prescott. It happened with Amari Cooper. It didn't happen with Byron Jones, but they let Byron Jones walk, so they didn't really care. And it's happening again with Micah Parsons and Dak Prescott again. It's the same thing. And I'm not the only person that's saying this. There are plenty of Cowboys content creators on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, everywhere that have said the same things that I've said on this channel years ago. In fact, they've said it longer than I have. And so that's where I get so frustrated with this team. I don't yell and scream as much because there's no point, because it's like Groundhog Day. It's the same thing every year. We go into free agency, they say the same buzzwords, and they sometimes give you the little crumb to keep you interested, and then they do nothing. And then we go into the draft hoping that these rookies can be our saviors, and if the draft class sucks, then we're screwed. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you guys. You know, I try to be as objective as possible and just be upfront. I'm not going to put smoke up your ass saying that, oh, guys, you know, this is the year. I'm not doing that shit. Okay? Look, I'm not going to bullshit you in saying that this team isn't good. I think that if they were to bring back, just like their plan is, let's just say they bring back Tyron Smith, Tyler Biadasz, and Stephon Gilmore for good measure, let everybody else walk, they sign a couple, like, they'll still be a team that gets into the playoffs or is on the cusp of making the playoffs, sure. But do I think they're going to be a Super Bowl team? No. Absolutely not. I don't think so. Do I think they need to sign, you know, high-priced free agents to get over the hump? Not necessarily, but they need to spend money wisely at certain position groups. Last year, going into the season and throughout the season, we talked about how this team needed to address linebacker desperately, and they didn't. They had the cap space to do it. They had the cap, you know, to do stuff. They didn't do anything. So that's where I sit here and I tell you, look, until they do things or when they start doing things, then I'll talk about it. So that's why I'm not talking about, again, I'm not talking about them going after a free agent or them trading for somebody. There's no point. If they're not willing to put in the effort to do their due diligence, like they always fucking talk about doing their due diligence, I'm not going to do it. You know, it's fun to talk about, hey, if they brought this guy in, they brought this guy in, what can happen? I just think they need a change in approach. That's it. I think that with how things were done before, while Jerry was hyper aggressive, he at least tried. If you don't try, you're going to miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Their all-in approach isn't even an all-in approach. It's a run-it-back approach. They're going to sit there and be like, hey, we have the same group of guys that got us 12 wins and the second seed. We just ran into some hiccups in the playoffs. All we got to do is just run it back and we're A-okay. They don't have the luxury of doing that. They don't have the roster capable of doing that at the level they want to do it at. It's not like baseball where, okay, you have the same core of guys that are very talented and you have a group of prospects that you can move up and down that you can rely on. Or you could sign one dude and you'll be fine if you're a contending team. It's not like that in the NFL. There's way too moving parts. And the Cowboys have way too many moving parts to even try such a thing. That's all I'm saying. Also, they've not shown the ability to have a roster to where they can run it back. You know, they just don't. Just being honest with you. You know, like, that's pretty much it, guys. I don't have much more to say other than we're just going to probably see the same approach, and I'm just preparing you guys for that. That's all. I would be shocked if they went out and signed some guys in free agency in the first week or two. I would be absolutely shocked. So, let's just see who they meet at the scouting combine, and we'll go from there. I'm just waiting for them to wrap up their stuff so we can then go through the list of guys they've met with, and we'll go from there. So with that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and hit that notification bell. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.